Found on the High Seas, a serialized gay romance taking place aboard the Caribbean ocean liner, the Majestic Sun. Follow along as I take everyone on a Caribbean adventure with humor, love, and of course, destruction. Penned by Rylie and Mason, narrated by me, Brian Shepard. Episode 6, A World Upside Down. A worried look was all Rylie saw as Britain turned to look at him as the alarm started to blare. Rylie went to say something, yet both had to hold on as the ship suddenly turned to port. That would be left for all you non-mariners. The pitch to the right was getting to the point where Rylie pretty much fell into Britain and knocked them into the metal lockers. From there, the ship continued to steer left. Looking through his binoculars, Captain Schmidt saw the huge wave approaching from the port side, making him give the command of hard to port. His plan was simple: ride out the wave by turning directly into it. He already surmised that keeping the current course would no doubt flip the Topaz. Turning a ship is no easy task. It also doesn't help matters that one engine was down, making the turn slower, which would have helped if he didn't wait to turn at the last minute. The wave would soon hit the ship broadside, causing the Topaz to roll starboard. The wave finally hit the ship, causing it to pitch too far starboard, making it feel as if it would indeed flip. Yet the ship righted itself as the wave rolled under. It would be the second wave, which would be much higher, that would do the Topaz in. Out of nowhere, the wave hit the ship still in mid-turn. Yet, with the first wave rolling under the ship, it brought the stern out of the water, making the turn harder. Rylie and Britain could hear the glass being broken as the ocean began punching its way along the side of the ship as it listed starboard. The captain tried to counteract the listing, yet it was too late. The Topaz would continue to list. Everything that was not bolted down was now falling. The metal bunk beds came toppling over, and it was the mattress that would protect them. "Hold on to me," Rylie said as the ship continued to roll, and once the wave was finished tossing them around, the Topaz had capsized. Its bottom was now up. "Are you all right?" Rylie asked as he tried to move off of Britain. "I think I hit my head," Rylie replied as he held a hand to his head. Rylie could see the gash and the blood coming from the corner of his head. "Looks like you hit your head on the light fixture." "Well, I wouldn't have, as we are now on the ceiling. Seems the power's still on," Britain noticed, inspecting the fixture. The light bulb was protected by a metal cover. "Must be the emergency batteries." Rylie looked around as he dug them out of the pile that had landed on top of them. A t-shirt, which he forgot to pack, was laying there and would make for a great bandage. Britain, still trying to shake the massive pounding in his head, heard the tearing and then felt hands lightly tying the ripped shirt around his head. "Thank you." "You're welcome. Are you all set to walk?" "I think so," Britain responded as he took Rylie's helping hand, bringing him to his feet, while trying not to trip over everything. "Time to go. We need to find a way off this thing," Rylie said as he attempted to open the door. Still holding his hand, Britain slowly followed Rylie out and into the hallway. Walking slowly as they navigated over pipes and bulkheads, the lights on the wall were guiding the way. The crew's stairwell might be the better option than going for the main staircase, which might be blocked, Rylie thought, as the sign on the wall confirmed the crew only on the door. He was going to have to learn to read upside down. The door would not open. Something was preventing the door from opening from the other side. We need to get to D-Deck. That will bring us where we need to be in order to get in front of the cargo hold. Why the cargo hold? Britain asked. Hello? A voice came from down the hallway. The voice sounded familiar as Rylie stopped to take a look around the next corner. On the floor was Owen from the kitchen, just sitting there, knees up to his chest, and with his arms wrapped around his legs. He was wet and scared. Owen, you all right, buddy? Rylie asked as he walked over to him. I thought I was alone, he said, standing back up. Are you hurt? Britain asked. No, I'm fine. I was on my way back to my cabin when the wave, I'm assuming, hit. All right, well, come with us, and we need to get off this thing, Britain said, as Rylie nodded in agreement. Navigating a ship while it's upside down again has its challenges, as all three finally had made it to the stairwell, which would bring them down a deck. However, as soon as he opened the door, he could hear what sounded like whimpering. Looking around, Rylie finally stepped out and noticed that on the lower level landing, standing close to the rail, holding on, was Michael Remington. Seems he didn't make it far. Hello? He called out. Mr. Remington? It's Rylie. Are you all right? Yes, never mind that. Just help me, Michael replied. He's going to end up with my foot up his... Britain trailed off as he was interrupted by Rylie, kissing him. Just like that. Surprised, it shut Britain up right away. Owen just smiled. Sir, we'll be coming down to you. Can we still access the deck you're on? Rylie asked, as it would be a waste of time to have all three climb down, and for nothing. I believe so. It's where I came from, Michael answered. Good. This meant that the deck above, which was now below, was still accessible. All right, down we go. We will have to slide down the hand railing to Mr. Remington, and then to the next deck. Babe, why don't you go first, and then Owen? A kiss. And now he's using the term babe. It seems the current situation has bumped this relationship up a notch, as Britain could clearly see how Rylie was feeling and felt about him, and the feeling was mutual. As Britain stepped forward, walking past Rylie and into the stairwell, and looked down to see Michael. Okay, so slide down the railing to the next deck. Easy, he thought, until Britain's eyes fell onto the water, which was down at the bottom, rushing and moving around with pockets of air bubbling up at the surface. You'll be fine. Let's not think about that right now, Rylie said as he placed a hand on Britain's lower back. You got this. We're right behind you. Any day will do, Michael said, causing nostrils to flare as Britain made his way slowly down the railing into where Michael was standing. It didn't take long for Owen and Rylie to make it down to them, as now it was time to follow this deck to the service stairs, which will lead not only to the engine room, yet the cargo hold as well. Now that the two became four, they could continue on with their journey. Out of the stairwell, it was easy on the deck with cabins, as the lights were on the walls and not on the ceiling. There were no pipes, as passengers on board did not want to see all that, and the emergency running lights that would light up the corridor like a runway were working, as it helped guide them towards the middle of the ship. How do we still have power? I would have imagined the roll would have knocked the electricity out, Britain stated. Battery backups must still be functioning for the lights to stay on without the engines running, Rylie responded, as they made their way to the crew access stairwell, which would lead them to the forward cargo hold. Owen and Michael kept up with the other two. Every time Britain would look back at them, they would just look dazed and confused, quiet as they both walked in silence. I'm glad the ship was empty, well, sort of, yet it beats a full ship of passengers, Britain said, as he looked in an open cabin which had nothing in them, had furniture which was tossed and broken. If it was up to me, it would have been fully booked. Ships were designed to be on the move. Yes, we know, yet it would have caused a lot of death. Britain stopped to face Michael when he said this. The guy was still on his nerves. Well, looks like we may have to go another way around, Rylie said, as all stopped a few feet from the fire doors, which were closed. Reaching for the handle, Rylie could feel the heat. Fire, he said as he backed away. What? How do you know for sure? You can't even see on the other side, Michael said, infuriating Britain and confusing Rylie. The door is hot, Mr. Remington, which indicates that there is a potential fire on the other side. It's why the door is closed, Owen spoke up. I'm not about to die on this death trap. I'm going my own way, and not to my death with you three clowns, Michael said, as he looked across to see the elevator shaft. The doors open. Maybe a climb down to the next deck. Easy enough, Michael thought, as he walked over to inspect the cables. I know what you're thinking, and I would advise against it, Owen said. With a push of a button, the elevator began coming down. I'm not that dumb, Michael said, as the elevator finally stopped in front of him. Yes, you are. You're about to get into an elevator inside of a capsized ship, Britain said, which only got him a narrow look and a grin as he stepped into the upside-down elevator and shut the gate. Again, with a push of a button, the elevator began to descend to the next deck. An explosion, which shuddered the ship, felt as if it came from the ship's forward section. The rocking of the ship caused everyone to hold on. Poor Mr. Remington didn't have anything to hold on to, and sadly, because of the slow descent, it got him stuck between decks as the elevator stopped. As Britain watched Michael look around, the sound of metal pinging off metal could be heard in the shaft. The elevator began to drop ever so slightly. The wench is about to go, Rylie said as he tried to make it over to him. However, another explosion would knock him down. The wench gave way, causing the elevator to drop, along with its rider. All three could hear Michael scream as it dropped, hitting the water. There was no way for him to get out as it sank deeper into the watery elevator shaft, drowning him in the process. The screams for help finally faded as Rylie held Britain close, and Owen had his eyes closed. No one said anything. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Need more to listen to while you wait for me to read? Well, let's not forget about Murder in Stratton County, which is ongoing. A Haunting in Stratton, which is complete. You can also check out The Death of Mrs. Whitmore by Afonso Carvalho, which is also read by me. You could find all these stories on all major podcast apps, along with YouTube. And hello, YouTube. Thank you guys for listening and subscribing.